Alright, so today I want to discuss, because people keep asking us a lot about her being quite small, not Camille, the boat. Okay, so because Badger is only 28 foot long, we do get asked a lot about how easy it is to live on it. So we'll go through the pros and the cons in a very informal way and sort of try and let you know the good things and the bad things about having a small boat.
Yeah.
Pro 1, I would say your canal and river trust license is about 660-ish pounds, I think, for a 28 foot boat. A couple of £100 cheaper than it would be if we'd have had a boat that perhaps we were looking at 40 foot plus. So we've saved a few £100 a year on the license alone. That's a pro. A con for me is storage space. There's just not enough. So at the moment we haven't found all the storage solutions that I think we need. What about a pro for you?
The biggest pro for me is that it's a tiny boat, so there's limited space, or there's small space to clean. So this you can do in a flash.
Yeah, no, it takes no time.
It's so easy to clean. The downside of that is that it gets dirty easily. As you clean it, it's dirty again. In that you have to be so meticulous in keeping it tidy, because once it's messy, it really loses the attractiveness, and then it becomes more confined, it feels smaller.
I think what Camille is trying to say is, I need to tidy up after myself. Reading between the lines,
Yeah.
but it's true.
So,
you have to put things back.
Yeah. So
straight
the
away.
biggest pro is that in a flash, it's clean.
Yeah, but in a flash, it's messy again.
Yeah. So that's the biggest one. And I think a smaller boat.
So that's your pro and your con. Easy to clean,
Yes.
easy to dirty up.
Yeah.
I think another pro for me would be as well, if we have to go into a marina for any reason, which we hopefully won't have to, it is cheaper to moor for paid moorings the smaller your boat is, because it's usually per foot. So the pro for that would be it's cheaper for us to go in a marina if we have to. Cons, storage.
And another pro for me is that it's such a tiny boat, and we have an epispatial heating system, but it's so small that it warms up in no time. So if we're cooking and it's a chilly night, as long as the oven is on, we're warm and toasty on the inside.
Well, we found that out the hard way when we had a battery issue, so therefore we couldn't use, this was very early on when we first arrived and we were getting used to English weather again. We couldn't use the epispatial. But then I remember we were cooking that morning, we woke up and it was cold, and then we started cooking, and within 5 minutes before breakfast was finished, the whole boat was toasty
really
warm.
It's just comfortable. So I think that's an advantage of a small boat as well.
Yeah, very true. Cons, storage.
Yeah, it's just a storage.
Another pro for me is we don't have to look for like a winding hole. There are little locations along the canal. Those of you who are boaters who follow boating will know this, and those of you that are watching from a distance and are thinking about getting a boat, or you like the whole canal network from afar, there's little points along the canal that are slightly wider that the boats will use to manoeuvre themselves to turn around 180 degrees, the winding holes. And we don't really need them in most of the network. I can, as I'll show you in a bit, I can turn the boat around just with ropes almost any stretch of the canal. Not every stretch, but almost any stretch of the canal.
Yeah, and the thing is, it's easy for him to do himself. So I may be in there and I will think, oh, the boat is now, I'm moving a little bit. But it's not so drastic. And I'll look and I'll say, oh, I'm in another direction here. And then realize that it's actually turned around. So that's a big advantage of having it compared to like a longer.
Well, I stopped asking for your assistance, so I think I can just leave you in there.
Or 60, I think there's compared to.
I think if we had any boat bigger than Badger, if it was any boat 40 foot plus, I think you'd almost, unless it was a really wide stretch of canal, you'd need a winding hole. Yeah. So it is a real bonus because, for instance, where we are right now, when we went to do the shopping, which we'll show you later, we had to turn the boat around. We would have had to have gone 1.5 kilometres that way to a winding hole, turned around and then gone, so we would have done 3 kilometres before we even got back to where we started, and then another sort of 4 or 5 up towards where the the supermarket is close to. But because we don't need to, I just turn the boat around with the ropes. It takes me less than 3 minutes, and off we go. So it saves us 3 kilometres of time, 3 kilometres of diesel. So it's a real bonus. The cons is storage, which we still haven't found a solution to everything.
Yeah, you just have to get creative with.
Yeah, there's only so much I can put on top,
and you have to adjust it every now and then. Something may work for a few months, and then things just need to readjust the next few months. So it's just to play by your daily to see exactly.
Another pro, when we blacked the boat recently, obviously less paint is required, so it's a lot cheaper. But we did the blacking ourselves, so we paid to have the boat taken out of the water, and we paid for our own paint. And then I had friends helping me out, you may have seen in one of the previous vlogs. So it was much cheaper as far as the paint was concerned, and much quicker to do, especially because we had 4 people, painting the hull at the same time. So if we really list some of the pros there, you're looking at cheaper to license, cheaper to insure. If you're paying for moorings, which we're not, but if you are, it's cheaper to moor, it's cheaper easier to clean, cheaper to black. I would also say another pro is in the busier stretches or the more popular stretches, when you're looking for a mooring space, you can squeeze. I mean, they might not like you to squeeze in between the boats, but if there's nowhere else to go, then you're within your rights to put your boat there. It's much easier with Badger because you'll find mooring spots, whereas if you had like a 50-foot boat, you may struggle to find a mooring spot for it. So that's a few of our pros and cons. Okay, but we'll show you is turning the boat around in a second. Alright, one of the benefits of having a very small boat like Badger, who's only 28 feet long, is that I should, in theory, be able to turn around almost anywhere. So what I tend to do is kick out the bow without falling in, and then because I've got the rope on the peg on the outside now, I should be able to just pull around if she's going to cooperate now. That's it, out you go. And pull her back. And she should pivot. So hopefully not do a Suez Canal job. Now you should be listening to days. And then if I pull her back this way, I should be able to just step on board and off we go, if the rope doesn't snap. I've done that one-handed. How good am I? Yeah, so Badger still lives. She started okay this morning. This isn't much of a cruise today. I've just been shopping to Asda. Living the dream. So, beer, pork pies, food, more beer and a bottle of wine for Camille. Great husband I am. Flip the boat round 180 degrees one-handed. Sunshine. Badger's moving under our own power again. It's all good. I have to say, even though we've just done a shopping run to Asda, hardly what you would think is the most exciting adventure of the day, but it's so nice to be moving again after being sort of broken down and towed and stranded and being out of the water for so long. It's a beautiful day in beautiful surroundings. It more than makes up for all the sort of stress and, the not so nice things that come along with living this lifestyle. And that's what it is really, it's a balance. You have to weigh up, do the pros outweigh the cons of living on the water like this. We've yet to go through a winter, admittedly, and everybody's all full of doom. Wait till you go through a winter. But I've spent a winter in Cleveland, Ohio, so there's absolutely no way that a winter on a narrowboat in the UK is worse or colder than spending a winter in Cleveland, Ohio. Not a chance. Not a chance. And all my cousins will stick their hands up and say, absolutely, that's why we go to Florida. So we've got to get through that. And I'm kind of got one eye on the winter anyway, so we will be doing some modifications to Badger. And I'm going to replace the Eberspacher heater. I didn't even get to Eberspacher before I messed my words up. I'm going to replace the Eberspacher with a solid fuel stove, because for me the residual heat that we'll get off that will last till the morning is key, I think. Whereas with the Eberspacher, once it works beautifully, but once you turn it off it's cold. So yeah, that's the plan. This is definitely the most fun, relaxing food shop commute, if you will, that I've done in a long time. The walk back from Asda, loaded down with bags, not so much fun, but the drive home, wherever that's going to be at the moment, very pleasant indeed. Cool. So you found storage for the wine?
Yeah. At least it's not that bad. Only somewhere for a bottle of wine.
You do hide it from me though. And regardless of how big or small your boat is, if the weather's nice like it is now, you're going to be outside. You're going to be on the stern deck or on the deck at the bow, if your boat's bigger.
And it's just been glorious today.
Yeah, glorious weather.
Day.
Where we are right now, there's walkways on both sides, nature reserves and bird sanctuaries, which we still haven't really explored very much. So, and that's the benefit everywhere we go on the network.
Yeah, we've just been going back and forth. There's a little bit of wonder, but there's still a lot more to see. But I mean, it's just so pleasant here that it's easy to get caught over here.
Yeah.
And just chill out.
Well, we are going to be here for a while because we also have another big decision to make with the boat, because of all the propulsion issues we've had since we started 4 months ago. So we have a big decision to make about the engine, which you're going to have to tune in next week to figure out.
Yeah, we're a little bit faster, but just not there quite yet.
And we think there's more problems.
Yeah.
So we have a big decision to make. But until we make that decision, happy days.
Yeah.
Cheers, guys.